Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Um, Everyone who is in person and those who are on Zoom. Um, so again, we'll start with a short mindful breathing exercise to calm and quiet our mind and to bring our mind in moment present. As you inhale and exhale, observe it mindfully and just simply observing, being aware of the movement of the breath. Then we can have the motivation that is to be not only just concerned with my own well-being, but to be concerned with the well-being of all others. And to be able to help to reduce their suffering and free from the suffering and cause of suffering. Help them to achieve inner peace and happiness. And to do that, I myself need to achieve my highest potential, the fully awakened state. And in order to achieve that fully awakened state, I must create the cause and conditions by cultivating all the spiritual realization and experiences, especially highest level of true love, compassion, the Bodhicitta mind, and wisdom. And to cultivate those mind and to develop limitlessly, I must contemplate, practice, meditate correctly, continuously. For that very reason, I'm going to listen and not only listen, but trying to integrate them in our everyday life as much as possible, whatever we find helpful and beneficial. Okay.
We'll start with the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, 3 times in English. To the founder, we
Fully impacting knowledge so subscribe to the complete and fully aware that's something from the sector in microinstance in terms of centers the force completely perfect within being completely so the more certainly time very the completely okay like down time that's really like that like from selling something like this the one game just for something like confident fully thinking what everything is but human beings is it's a completely somewhere on the side offerings.
in Tibetan. Ju
Joe. Re. She. Yi. Dem. Im. Kom. Sam. Ya. Si. Mi. Ke. Go. Top. Shame. Spin. Bound. So.
Refuge and bodhicitta, once in English, twice in Tibetan. I go for refuge.
And all sensing. Turn on so all flow down the helper against the problem here. The long danger down. Yeah, they don't forget on you. Just how you make and so that can be to them and so yeah. So we have started discussing on this very short text by Onkava, the Three Principles Aspect the Path to Enlightenment. And within that, the renunciation, the first principal path. Second is the awakening mind. Third is the wisdom, realizing the right view. And within the first, we talk about why we need to cultivate that mind, the renunciation mind. And then secondly, how to cultivate that renounce mind. And within that, there are two sections of the practice, and then overcoming the appearance of this life, attachment to this life, and overcoming the appearance to the future. And I think we finished the overcoming the attachment to the appearance of this life through the meditations on traces human rebirth and impermanent in general, and especially death impermanent. Are we that? Is that? I don't think we finished the second. Yeah. So if I read it down, it is where. So next one, I think is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, verse number 5. If you think again and again about the actions and their inevitable effect, and the suffering of cyclic existence, emphasize on appearance of future life will be reversed. So here, we have to kind of explain a little bit from Buddhist point of view. After we die, it's not like everything stops, our consciousness, the mind continue carrying the karmic imprint, and so what kind of next future life we will have? Do we have a more better life, in a higher rebirth with more better situations, more joy, more happiness, and better situation? Or would we have a life, lower rebirth where more sufferings, more challenges, more difficulties, So what kind of, those are the two, high rebirth and low rebirth. Whether we will have one of those high rebirth or one of those low rebirth, at the moment we don't have control. Of course, certain practitioners, when they reach certain point, they have choice. They can make choice. But for the ordinary beings who doesn't have that, then it depends on where the wind of the karma of the law of cause and effect blows. If the negative karma is more strong, then most likely at the time of in our life, and especially at the time of death, then most likely we will have one of the lower rebirth. If our positive karma is more strong, predominated, then we will most likely have a higher rebirth and better life and situations. So it depends which karma is more predominated, which karma is more strong, so that decide, so that is where the karma comes into the concept of karma come in there, What kind of result we will have in the future, it depends on the karmic potentials. That what kind of karmic potential that we create, you know. If we create more positive karmic potential, then it's going to have better rebirth and better life, better situation, more happiness. If we engage in more unhealthy, more negative karmic seed, karmic actions, karmic potentials, then, you know, as a result of that, we are more likely to have, you know, one of those low rebirth where there's more suffering, pain, and more challenging, more difficult, you know, so. So the karma is, you know, the law of cause and effect. Law of cause and effect. Generally, there's a law of cause and effect. Okay. Just like there's a law of gravity, just as there's a law of gravity, there's a law of cause and effect. You know, because there's a law of cause and effect, then when you engage into certain cause or when you plant certain things, then the result is certain fruit, certain flower, certain plant, you know, certain result. That is the way nature is, the law of nature, the law of cause and effect. If I plant, you know, the seed of red chili, when it grows, I do not expect to have an apple fruit. Even you expect it, it's not going to happen. Because what kind of result plant that you have, it depends on what kind of seed you plant. You know, and that will be saying, you know, if you plant the seed of fruit, you know, you don't expect it to grow a chili, and even you expect that's not how it's going to happen. You know, you can pray, you can wish, all of that, but that's not going to change. When it grows, the result follow what the seed is. And saying, so that is an external world that we see the law of cause and effect. Law of cause and effect. When certain condition comes, there's rain, snow. When certain condition comes, there's drought, famines, and so forth. When certain condition comes, you know, there's illness. When certain condition comes and different condition comes, then that can be healed, that can be cured. So again, what kind of experience, what kind of result we have, it depends on what kind of cause that one engaged into, you know. And so certain cause produce certain result. Not all cause produce all kind of result, you know. And so they're very specific cause produce very specific result. And that is law of cause and effect. And within that natural law of cause and effect, when living beings, the sentient beings, when their mind get involved, it within that law of cause and effect, due to the sentient involvement or due to the engagement of sentient beings' mind, then it creates another layer of cause within those cause. And due to that, then it creates a result that we experience. And that is what called, karma. Within that general law of cause and effect, due to the involvement of sentient beings' mind, then it produces different experience for those sentient beings. Whether it's a pleasant experience, whether it's unpleasant experience, or whether it's a neutral experience. Those different kind of experience are a result of our karma, or our actions. And that is what And without understanding or taking into consideration the concept of karma from many lifetimes, then there are a lot of things that we cannot explain. Take an example of child being born. From the very birth, some child, they had some kind of defect. Of course, sometimes we have defect in our life later by accident and different conditions and that. But sometimes we have child born with the defect, And in the same family, some child just find no defect at all. And where does that come from, or illness that is coming from genetically, If it's just a genetic, why doesn't all the child have the same? Let's say the parent had a cancer, or the grandparents have cancer, or the grandparent cancer, and child was born with cancer with that kind of genetic or any other illness, any other chronic illness. But not, even though they carry the same genetic, same families, same parent, same grandparent, but still one of them have that disease, carry that disease, that genetic, and the other one doesn't carry that. There is something, it's not just the genetic, but there is some other force or energy that kind of make whether someone carry that particular genetic or not. And that could be same. We can make same argument with all others. In same family, the child is born, bringing same environment with same love, compassion, same education, same home, and then one child might turn out very aggressive, the other child can turn out very compassionate. It's the same in terms of genetic, DNA, same families. In terms of bringing up conditions, in the same conditions. Same conditions, same environment. If we just talk about just the external conditions, they should turn out same way. They shouldn't be having such a different. Because external conditions wise, they are given same external conditions. But that's not the case. Even as a young child, even as a very young child, one can turn out to be very aggressive, one can turn out very compassionate. And we can talk about many others, child who are born with this kind of skills that they know without being taught. At the youngest 2, 3, 4, they're expert in some of them. They do better than people who have been learning that for 20 years, 30 years. Some child, genius. They are kind of born with that ability, and different in some in the music, some in art, some in language, some in mathematics, some in different, Then where did that come from? And so, but if we take consideration of karmic seed imprint from the past, karmic seed from the past, then it makes more sense. Why? Why there are 2 children who are born same family and or that they were treated same way in same environment, but still they turn very differently, and how some children are born with such kind of talent, without training so much, without learning so much, without some of them without being trained so much, and so anyway. But also we have to remember, when someone has some kind of challenge, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, whatever different challenges, whether they are born with such challenges or whether they were affected by the environment, conditions later, and they go through a lot of pain, suffering. Sometimes we think again, they must, either is yourself or someone, we might think, I must be bad persons. I must have done something horrible, or someone must have horrible. And again, we tend to make such sometimes judgment. Again, that is also wrong. That person might be extremely kind, compassionate, either in this life or either in past life, but they still, because we talk about so many lifetimes, there's all kind of imprint, and so therefore sometimes one of those negative imprint can manifest. And that doesn't, just because one of those negative karma manifest and someone's experiencing that doesn't mean that person must be horrible or bad. Another thing that we try to understand in that, with the karma, in that is, instead of seeing something as negative, we have to see something as positive. And I think that is one of the things I feel like people struggle with that. Instead of seeing as something positive, they always try to see as a negative. We try to see it positive because it's a signs of healing. It's a signs of cleansing. It's a science of purifying. That is good. Sometimes in physical level, when you are healing, sometimes you might go through some pain, and it's a good sign. Like some kind of pimple, you know. When it's ripened, then it's more painful, you know. And when it's ready to, it's ripened, and when it's ready to come out, it's already ripened, it's very painful. But it's a good sign because now it's ready to come out. Instead of being there and spreading inside, and you might not feel the pain, but it's spreading there inside. But when it's coming out, when it's ripening, then it's painful. But when that is happening, it's a good sign because now you are healing. It's ready to, it's ripening, and then now you can take it out and you heal. So there are many, many examples like that in physical illness. Sometimes you have some kind of, you have eaten a poisonous food, and you are throwing and you are having a diarrhea. It's a good sign because you will be cleansing all those poisons that you have just taken it. It's uncomfortable. There's no doubt. It's a little bit of discomfort. Throwing is discomfort, and having a diarrhea is a discomfort, but it's a good sign because it's cleansing all the poison, the poisonous food that you have eaten, so you can heal, that you can cure. Same way, that's how we try to see it. Whenever we experience any kind of challenge, any kind of problem, any kind of pain, suffering in our life, or someone else experience, instead of saying negative, you have to see something as positive. By seeing is healing, is cleansing, is purifying. So coming back to the karma, understanding the karma, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. There are four kind of characteristics of the karma, or four attributes of the karma. The karma is definitive, and karma is ever multiplying, increasing, and one will not experience the karmic result if you have not created the karmic cause. And if you have created karmic cause, unless it is being kind of destroyed by some other forces, you will always experience result of that karmic cause. It's only a matter of time when the condition come together for ripening of that. So again, first is the karma is definitive, means, if you create positive karma, the result is something positive, pleasant experience. It never produces unpleasant experience, pain and suffering. It's a definite, certain, that. On the other hand, if you create positive karma, the result is always pleasant, happiness. If you create negative karma, the result is always unpleasant, pain and sufferings. So definite in that. So if that is the case, if we have that understanding, realizations, if we understand that deeply, then when we experience some kind of challenges, problem, pain in our life, we wouldn't think, oh, this must maybe because I did this practice. Do you get it? Because I did this practice, because I helped someone, because I was compassionate with someone, maybe that's why I'm experiencing this. If that means you have not understood this first point. Because what you did, trying to be compassionate, trying to help, benefit, or practice, that result will always be something positive, not something negative, suffering, always. So therefore, what if you are experiencing something is not result of this particular action, this particular karma. It is result of some karma that we cannot see at the moment from the past. Because sometimes I hear people or students sometimes, having doubt, because they started to have some challenges, difficult in their life, and they started thinking, oh, maybe because I started to do practice, because I started to do something good, something positive. Sometimes people have started to have a little bit of doubt about that, and so again, that is a sign that we have not really understood this first point of the karma. If we understand that it can never be, if you do something good, it can, as a result, that it can never be a suffering. It was always something pleasant. And so that is, the second is ever increasing. Just like you see in the plant, you start with small plant, small seed, okay? And that small seed, if all the conditions, other conditions come together, it will grow into big trees with many branches, many leaves, many seeds, huge. And it continues bigger and bigger until there is a, potential, no more potential to extend, or other conditions are not there for it to expand. It will continue to expand. It produces new seed, and that produces another things. That produce, it continue to one seed, with that it continue. Same way, our actions, whether it's positive or negative, have same potential to grow and multiply. Unless there's obstacles for it to multiply and grow. So in terms of negative karma, if we can do purification, then we create obstacle for it to grow, and we actually destroy that karmic seed, so it cannot grow, it cannot expand, or even destroy completely. In terms of positive karma, positive actions, sometimes our positive karmic actions can be destroyed by such as negative force, such as anger or wrong view and so on. If there's no obstacle for it to grow by such as those negative thoughts, then it will grow, it will expand. Again, that is another, I think we have to emphasize. When we think of negative karma, when we think expanding, we feel scary and kind of have some resistance to that ideas. But you have to also understand it's not just a negative karma. The positive karma has equally same potential to expand and grow. Sometimes we don't think that. Sometimes our mind tend just to negative, and then I think we started to feel more negative. So that, and also with that, what we learn is we have to be mindful of every actions. Even some negative karma, even though it seems so insignificant, small, sometimes we might not pay more attention. But even though it might be at the very beginning, it's very small, it seems very insignificant, but it has potential to become very big over the time. So we try to avoid, we try to restrain, not only from the big negative karma or negative actions, but also even the smallest negative actions as much as possible. On the other hand, the positive karma, even if it's very small, even though it feels very insignificant, but we have to try to engage into it, because even though it's very small, it has the potential to become a big. For example, holding a hand, being respectful to a holy object or someone, just saying one mantra, just saying one prayer, it seems very small, insignificant compared to helping someone in actions. But also this, even that which seems very insignificant and very small, it has the potential to be very big. So whenever you get opportunity, whenever we get opportunity, we try to create and engage in positive karma, whether it's big or small, because it has the potential to become a big. As Buddha said, it's like one drop of water fill the bucket over the time. So we cannot. Yeah, we can bring it here. Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Or just here, put it up next to Geshe.
You can keep it here.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the example the Buddha gave is, drop of water fill the bucket, So sometimes when one just drop, it seems too insignificant, too small to have any uses, But collecting drops of water, then you fill the bucket, and then you can use for that many things, higher purpose. So that, and then third one, if you have not created the karma, then you will not experience. And so that is one of the Buddhist understanding, is all our experience are a result of our own past actions. We are responsible for our experience. That karma lead to take responsibility. Karma, if you have that understanding of karma, then we take responsibility for all our experience. At the moment, it's hard to take responsibility ourselves. I don't think we don't mind taking responsibility when it's a good experience. We don't have problem of taking responsibility for that. If good experience, pleasant experience, things are happening good in our life, we don't mind taking the responsibility. And we take responsible for that. But when things goes wrong, when things are not going well, the way we believe, the way we think it should go, or when we have problem, challenge, suffering, then it's very hard to take responsibility and say, this is because of my actions. It's hard to take responsibility. We tend to blame others all the time. we tend to point the finger to other all the time. But when it comes to positive, we don't have problem. So, whether it's a good experience or bad experience, pleasant or unexperienced experience, we have to take responsibility and through understanding of karma. So we blame less to others. If we don't blame others, there's no reason you're upset to others, angry to others. The reason why we be upset and angry is because we blame them for all the bad things that is happening. Why would I get upset if I don't blame that person for something bad happening? There's no reason for me to feel upset, angry with that person. But the moment I blame, the moment I feel that person is responsible for everything that is happening bad, then the feeling of upset and anger just arises. So, through understanding karma and taking responsibility ourselves, it helps us to not to blame and not to point finger to others, and thereby it stops from arising with anger and negative feeling towards others. In that way, it helps us to keep our mind more calm, peaceful, without being so upset with someone. And then fourth one, if we have created a karmic seed, unless it is being destroyed by some other force, for example, internal negative karma, through the practice of purification, internal positive karma being destroyed by the force of anger and wrong view. And so if it hasn't been destroyed by those other forces, it's only a matter of time before you will experience the result of that. You might experience, not now, maybe after 10 years, or maybe later part of your life. If not in this life, maybe future life, when the other conditions come together. If not immediate future life, it could come in after 10 lifetimes. Or it could come after 100 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes. It could many. But the seed is always there. And when other conditions come, it will manifest. The karmic seed, the potential is there. So therefore, just because it didn't produce the result now, don't think there's no result for that. That is what. So therefore, Buddha, give an example. The karma is like a shadow. The shadow is always there. Sometimes you see the shadow, sometimes you don't see it, depending on the lightning. Okay? Because of the lightning, how the lightning is, if the lightning in certain direction, then you see the shadow. But if the lightning is in no direction, in certain direction, you don't see the shadow. But the shadow is always there. It's only whether you see or not. Same way, the karmic result will be experienced. It's only a matter of time. And therefore, with that, what we understand is, we do not become careless and, think, if we can deceive the law of this country, law of this state, law of this, that we can deceive. You cannot deceive the karmic law. You can deceive the law of this state. You can deceive the law of these countries. You can deceive the law of the world, and thereby you might not experience the result of something bad that you did. But the karmic, you cannot run away, you cannot deceive the karmic result. It will manifest, it will arise when the condition come in the futures. So that is a little bit of karma in general. And then as I mentioned, within the karma, there is positive karma, negative karma, neutral karma, and with those three different type of karma, three different type of result, and in terms of practice, we start practice mainly, by reframing from 10 non-virtuous action and engage in 10 virtuous actions. And it is said the karma is the beginning of the practice for the practitioners. Motivations is the beginning for the meditations. The precious human rebirth meditation, that is the beginning of the Lamrim. And in terms of practice, the beginning of the practice is practice engaging the karma, refraining from non-virtuous action, engage in the virtuous actions. That is the very beginning. Karma is sometimes known as, the right view, of the world, So in terms of reframing, what do we reframe? We reframe and avoid taking the lives of others, stealing others, engaging in sexual misconduct, lying, engaging in divisive speech, engaging in harshful speech, engaging in meaningless, idle gossips, trying to free from this three mental state, covetousness and a strong desire, strong attach, wanting more and more, covetousness, ill will feelings and wrong view. And so we try to avoid that, and we try to engage in the virtues. Instead of taking life, we try to save lives. Instead of stealing, we try to practice generosity, giving. Instead of practicing sexual misconduct, we try to practice being faithful, truthful. Instead of lying, we try to be truthful, honest with our speech. Instead of divisive speech, we try to engage in the gentle, kind speech. Instead of engaging on the harsh speech, and instead of divisive speech, we try to engage in a speech, not something to divide, but something that helps to bring together. Speech that help to unite, speech that help to bring people who have some division, to bring them together. Instead of meaningless idle gossip, we try to engage in a speech that is meaningful, helpful, beneficial. It's something essential, meaningful. Instead of covetousness mind, we try to practice, non-craving, non-attachments. Instead of ill will feeling, we practice, non-anger, patience, compassion. Instead of a wrong view, then we try to practice the right view. So we try to avoid those 10 non-virtuous actions and try to engage in 10 virtuous actions. And if we can practice that, even if we don't have a, even if we don't have a great understandings or higher understanding or higher practices or advanced practices, or even if we don't, if you live your life on the principle of avoiding 10 non-virtuous actions, engaging in 10 virtuous actions, then your life will be meaningful. And you have created cause and conditions to have a better, higher rebirth in the future. Whether you believe in or not, even if you don't believe in next rebirth, you have still created cause and condition. Whether there's what kind of rebirth you have next time, good or bad one, it doesn't depend on whether you believe in rebirth or not. It depends on whether you have created cause and condition or not. Whether you are going to have good harvest or bad harvest, it doesn't depend on whether you believe it is going to be a good harvest or it is going to be a bad harvest or there's no harvest at all. That doesn't change. It depends on what kind of cause condition you created. In a good, you have good soil, and you give the good seed and good water and everything's that condition, then whether you believe or not, the harvest will be good. Unless there was some others, bugs or whatever, and if you keep all of that, And so therefore, it's about creating the cause. So if we, in the lumbering, it talk about, to free from the unfortunate rebirth, such as low rebirth, and the practice going to the refuge. And after going to refuge, the main thing is not only going to refuge, but keeping the precept of the refuge. And the keeping the precept of the refuge, the main precept that keeping refuge is to avoid 10 non-virtuous action, engage in 10 virtuous action. That is the main precept. And if you do that, then even you believe in, okay, maybe. So that is do you have something? Yeah.
But I understand now, the word was harvest, and I think about harvesting. So I do have a question though. So the karmic seeds, I've been thinking about garden seeds lately, and so there are negative and positive seeds, some undesirable and some desirable, but some also in gardening anyway, they have more like life force, more strength to be growing. And so is this the way also with our karma, that those seeds, some are just stronger and some are not so strong?
Yes, yeah. Strong, the 4 conditions. When one of those conditions are missing, then it's less strong. Also, it depends on, there are many different conditions that could make that particular karma strong or weak. One is, as I mentioned, if each of those, there's 4 conditions, the motivations, the object itself, the unmistaken objects, and then the actions and the completions. When all of them are completed, then karma becomes more strong. When one of those conditions are missing, then karma is less strong. 2 conditions missing, even less strong. 3 conditions missing, even less lighter. So that is one thing. Secondly, it also depends on the intensity of your motivations. If your motivation, whether it's good or bad, if it is very strong, intense, that make that karma more stronger. If your intentions, your motivation is not so intense, not so strong, again, even though motivation is there, but it's not so strong, therefore is more lighter than the action that has much more stronger motivations in terms of intensity. Also, it depends on objects. if you're harming someone, you know, if you harm the vulnerable one, is more stronger karma than someone who's less vulnerable. Let's say, okay? So because of the person's object situation, someone who is already vulnerable, who is a lot of pain, suffering, on top of that, you hurt and harm someone, is more negative karma, stronger negative karma than someone who is not still in a situation. In terms of holy objects, because the objects, if you offer something, you create more stronger karma than you offer same to less holy, less enlightened beings, because of the objects that, you know. Also in term, it also explains in terms of killing, you know, the stronger animal, more stronger negative karma. Because when you kill them, they go through more sufferings than the small animals. They go through less suffering relatively. And so therefore, again, if you kill bigger animal, more negative karma than smaller. But of course, killing smaller might be less than the bigger ones, but if you are eating it, you have to kill more, and that means more negative karma. You know, so but if it's 1-to-1, then killing, let's say, a cow is more negative karma than killing an ant. Because
Then
of
killing of what?
ant. Yeah. So there are many different, so that those are many according to the mind, according to the objects, according to the conditions, certain due to that, then certain karma can be strong, certain karma less strong. So definitely there is that part. Anyone has any other questions? Yes, please.
I'm so glad I'm here so I can hear what you're telling me. But if I weren't here, I wouldn't know about karma and stuff like that. But the idea is how can you blame somebody who doesn't know about your concepts?
I don't want to use the word the blame, you know. But still, someone who doesn't know about this country's law, they break the law, they can't say I didn't know it. You know, there is consequences. Let's say there's a different law of truck driving in another country, and someone comes here and they didn't learn about the traffic rules here. They break the traffic law and they say, and they will get consequences, and that will be same for many things. If someone might kill someone, you know. And they might not know, but that wouldn't be exceptions. They will still have consequences. Of course, the consequences, the punishment a little bit less. Someone knowingly doing something and unknowingly doing it, of that breaking law or doing something negative, the consequences might be punishment or might be a little bit less because of those they're taking consideration that, but still they have to pay the consequences for that. And so that is same in you know, someone who knowingly that is negative and still doing that, and someone who doesn't know is negative but doing that, there will be a difference in terms of consequences. Someone who knows is negative but still engaged in knowingly doing that, they have stronger negative karma of same actions. Someone who doesn't know is negative but who did it still is a negative, and they still create karma.
So the other question, which is in line with that,
Mm-hmm.
is if somebody like you're talking about the two children, one is generous and compassionate, the other is angry or whatever. Isn't there something in Buddhism that says you should, or they should have some benefit of, somebody should help them, is what I'm trying to say. Where do they, if they don't have your knowledge, where do they get their help?
Help for what?
For this angry child or?
Well, then they could get help. They could see, psychologists, therapists, medicines, doctors.
They may not have the opportunities like that. You're saying if somebody from another country breaks the law, they should be punished. But I don't agree. I think they should be.
No, I'm not saying they should be punished. I'm saying the police will not give them exception if they go to court.
Speak to difficulties can learn about, kindness and compassion and. get
No,
help.
sure, they have to learn and there should be help for that. It's not blaming them. What I'm saying is that is how it is. I'm not saying that punish must be punished or not punished. Buddha is not saying you should be punished. The law of karma is not created by Buddha. He didn't create the law of cause and karma. He just said this is how things works. If you do this, if you put your hand in the fire, you'll be burned. Your hand will burn. That's all he's saying. He's not saying that this is negative, this is positive. He's basically, even the word negative or positive is basically, is not saying that's bad, but is more saying if you engage in that, you will suffer. Negative in the sense that you will bring sufferance to the person who will do it.
But if that's somebody, you talk about cause and effect, and if somebody doesn't know about these causes and effects, they need to have help.
Yes. They need to have help, and some are willing to take help, some are not willing to take help. And so again, it depends on that. It is always, if you see in the world, even in families, it's not about someone wanting to help. The other has to be ready to help, receive help, ready for help. In family, there are a lot of family members who want to help their children who is going through a lot of challenges, whether it's addiction, whether it's other problems. And sometimes they're not ready to receive the help. Offering help, it make them even more upset. And that is same with so many things. And so there is one thing, definitely, there should always be help. We never need help, and we should be able to help. But at the same time, that because you want to help and that you are going to solve that person's problem like that, many cause conditions come together. Many cause and conditions come together.
Would be fair to say that people like us who learn these things, it's then our necessary duty to go out and reach these people that are having trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's in your intention motivation is to help all sentient beings. That is the motivation, the Bodhicitta motivations. Everyone, to help and benefit everyone. In terms of actions, is the best thing to do now or not? It depends. Because some people will appreciate and they're looking for help, they will appreciate it and it will help. Some people, they don't want your help. They are not ready. Why you are interfering with my life? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? So again, it depends on many conditions, I think that is, and that is also one reason why Buddha himself, and that is what he also taught, he himself, even after his enlightenment, he didn't teach for 49 days. Even though he had that wisdom, even though he had that, because the other has to be ready. It's not like I have this and I want to share and I want to give you. The other has to be receptive and ready for that. And only when they're receptive, ready, only when they requested him, that means they were receiving. That is, and also that is how, even at the very beginning, a lot of time we do the, we just at least try to keep the tradition of mandala offerings and requesting, because that is also Buddha taught. You are not just to go and preach everywhere. You just like because you think you know because you think you know, or because you have that knowledge or that. Other has to be ready. They have to ask. Otherwise, it is like forcing others, and when you have sometimes good intention, it doesn't have the best impact or best result because the other is not ready. So they also have to be ready to when you want to help, and so that is where that also come in play. That is also another thing. Yeah.
I'm just saying I have compassion for the people who are in heavy karma and really may not know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Again, in the teachings as we have been going through, mind training, adversarial mind training before, we have already gone through all of that many times. And again, in all the teachings, you should have more compassion for those people who are in those situations, who are suffering on different levels, So that has always been the very hard teaching of the Buddha. That has always been the emphasis of the Buddhas, those who are more suffering in different ways, whatever they, whether it's in physical level or the emotional, mental level, they are they should be the object of compassion, and you should develop more compassion for them and try to help that. So yeah. Did you have something?
Yes, I had a couple of questions, but you mentioned a mandala offering. And I have never understood that very well. Could you just say a little bit more about how that fits into the picture?
Well, the mandala offerings is imagine and visualizing the offering of the universe and the body, speech, and mind. So it is a way of you appreciate the teachings. And so therefore, as a way of you appreciate the teaching, you see the value of teaching, you see the preciousness of teaching, and therefore, in order to receive, you want to give some things. You want to offer something. And the offerings here is, of course, whether we do just a hand or whether there is some the mandala set or not, or whether it is your mind, even you don't have to do a hand like that, you can just do in your mind. Or whether you recite the verse or not, but in your mind, you offer the whole universe, your own body, speech, and mind. And that is the mandala. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And could you please, okay, I have a friend who's getting close to death. And it has made me think, not her, but me, I'm thinking about the issue of people taking ending their life sooner than normal. Could you please say a little bit about that in terms of karma, mostly karma? I think that's the most important aspect, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's very complicating, These issues are very complicating, whether it's dealing with your own self, whether you are dealing with someone, or whether we are dealing with another animal who is suffering so much and you want to put them down because you cannot see their sufferings. These all are complicating. It's not so easy, regardless of that, it's still taking a life, whether it's taking yourself or someone's. That doesn't change. And how light that karma become, or how heavy, how light it becomes, it depends on many conditions. How strong your compassion is, or whether it is really compassion, or whether it is sometimes your own selfish attitude, not bearable to experience that pain yourself. So I think there are many conditions. So if your motivation is true compassion, then even you create the negative karma of taking a life, at the same time, out because of that compassion, you also create a lot of virtues, positive karma. So if you compare those two, then maybe there might be one more heavy than others, depending on how strong your compassion and all of that. Or sometimes, again, the mind is so tricky. Sometimes mind is so tricky that sometimes we might feel like we are doing out of compassion, but sometimes it might not be for the others, it might be for ourselves. Because so those are kind of, but definitely even you try to end your life in that situation, still is taking a life. It's not same as, in some scriptures, again, I don't know how literally you can take some of those. I cannot say for sure, but again, in some teachings, they say if you take your life, then you will struggle to have human life for 500 next lifetimes in the futures. So there is also some of those teachings, but as I said, I don't know how, because teaching, some of them can take it literally, some of them you cannot take literally. For that, I cannot say, because I cannot see the karmic future of that. But definitely is never encouraged. It's never encouraged. But at the end, individuals have to make their decisions. So, and that's the same thing. I get similar questions about taking down the animals. And I say, I cannot say it's okay. No, I can say it's absolutely not okay. Everyone have to make their own decisions and their own responsibility, and whether it's someone's or oneself, they have to make their own decisions. Yeah. So based on that, it is myself or in the Buddhist or any teachers going to say, oh, you are horrible because that person is horrible because they decided to end their life earlier, or that is horrible, or you are against Buddhism, or you are against your religion. It's never like that, but it's individual decision that they have to make it, But definitely, when we take life, it's still taking a life. That doesn't change. So it depends on many other conditions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone has questions on the Zoom?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hello, Kinsella. Hi.
Yes.
It's always good to be here.
Thank you.
I love these teachings. I listened to the teaching. I wasn't here for last week, so I listened to the teaching on YouTube for renunciation a couple of days ago, and it was wonderful. I really enjoyed just these three aspects. I have a question about, this has always been a question for me. And it's about, um, well, it's really about killing. It's about, I guess it's about vegetarianism. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. Um, I've certainly struggled with it, the concept, for a long time, and I've tried to be vegetarian, but I can't be. I seem to need meat, at least for now. Something in my karma. But it's come up before that it's more negative karma if you kill the animal yourself, okay, than if someone else is killing it for you. And I don't understand that concept. It doesn't make sense to me, because it seems to me that if you're going to eat meat, that it would be more positive karma to kill the animal yourself rather than depend on someone else's bad karma to do it for you. That seems, do you know what I'm asking? I don't know if I'm explaining it very well.
If you actually ask someone to kill for you, really, you actually order someone to kill for you,
Mhm.
then it is regarded more stronger negative karma than killing yourself. Because killing and then you make someone to act that negative karma for
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
And so that is stronger negative karma is not less negative karma.
Okay.
And of course, it will be different. Like if you don't really order yourself, still you are contributing towards that, but you didn't really order another animal to kill for you, or indirectly there is some contributions. Indirectly, we are contributing a little bit for the loss of the life of others, but you didn't order directly to kill the other for yourself. But if you actually order someone to kill for yourself, then that is more negative karma, stronger negative karma.
All right. Thank you. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Thank you. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's more negative karma on you who made the decision, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one who asked someone to kill for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I ask someone to kill for me instead of killing myself, and when someone killed that
Yes.
for me, then I create more negative karma than if I kill myself, because I make someone else get involved in that.
Yeah.
It's taking animals, killing. Whether I kill that person, is killed, but then I make another person to create negative karma, so that.
So, in our country here, we often go to the veterinarian doctor and, for this euthanasia. And, I think that their code of ethics includes that as being appropriate. And, do you think that's heavy karma for that doctor?
Again, these are complicating. I don't think it is. I think it is. It is. Yeah, it's hard for me to say. I can say, but I don't think that is really accurate or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I'm. Yeah.
It's definitely complex, and in our country, it's becoming more. States are beginning to acknowledge assisted death. And so it's something we have to think about, I think. Yeah. Thank you for addressing this.
I believe that Rinpoche has quite a bit written about that. From the vet's point of view and the that parent's point of view. And it might be on the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive.
Okay.
But if you Google that issue, which of course is huge,
Yes.
and like FPMT, a whole bunch of his advice will come up.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, these are something that has been posed by many people to His Holiness, many of the teachers, and there isn't clear answer to that because it's not so. It is not easy. It's not as simple. It's very complex. So I haven't seen any of them giving a very clear answer to that because they see the complexity of that. And even His Holiness asked quite many times over the years, same questions brought. Yeah.
See that.
Okay, dedications.
Stuff.
So we dedicate the merit created by this teaching and all of our positive acts to all beings everywhere on every prayer list, and specifically for those experiencing obstacles. Jana, Deborah W, Bobby, Court, Paula, Donald and Julie, Claiborne, Matt and Adrian. For illness, John B, Jim B, Yeshi the dog, Lisa Pacheco, Joe C, Kelly F, Greg J, Patty, Bill, Stella, Rolf, Dorcas, Jane, Nicole, Rita F, Mike F, Lyra, Ray, Dennis, and David Doyle. And for those who are dying or who have died in the last 49 days, Jeanette A, Melissa Saiz, Mice, Robert, Patty Ann, Carol, Nicole's dad, Snail, Bug, Beverly, Billette, Robert, Kunail, Carol McCall, people in Gaza, Israel, and the Israeli hostages.
Joanne.
Oh, yes. Joanna. Oh. Vancouver? Oh, I thought it was Joanna. Any others?
Can you please add Steve Zirkle to the list?
Which one? Obstacles, illness, death?
To death. Steve Zirkle. Zirkle.
Zirkel?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, got it.
Would be, Mike. F is his last initial,
Okay,
and his wife, Rita. For the death and dying, please, Eileen H.
Eileen H.
And for obstacles, I would like her family to be, in the obstacle group.
Family of Eileen H.
Yes.
Any others?
Jana, this is Laura. Could you add Laura and Alyssa for illness, please?
Illness,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes, and for obstacles, please, Allie, ALLIE.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any others? We'll do our dedication prayers. Once in English, I'm sorry, in Tibetan. Gay Wadi. John, 2, 7, Long life prayers for our teachers, starting with His Holiness Dalai Lama. Once in English, the wish for not to be a school, but to. In this. For the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, peerless teacher and assembly of children.
Father and Son, together with all the name. Just they now they still the military this in all within the language places. The plantation markets, you the armor machines and slave discovered incomparable venerable you idea requires infinite was
And for loving living beings, you suddenly enter peace. Nevertheless,
the truth
of the blessings of people's and the victorious. May the smile of the new covenant for 4 and for also Peter Lamia, his reincarnation. Venerable one, to you,
You whose kindness exceeds that, and all the conquerors in far off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern.
mindful of your loving certain purpose, in expression, in media, in the family, or when we may receive blessed.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, John and
Thank
Jen.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank
Bye, Hunter. Bye, Laura.
Bye, Hunter.